Subject of Art by Kate Ashley P. Liao. Art has no boundaries. Art can come from imagination, and anything we can imagine is limitless. Therefore, the subject of art can differ from one individual to another. It can be anything around us or anything under the sun, and it is important to categorize its sources and identify what it is. There are two kinds of art as a subject. The first is called representational or objective art, which means that the selected subject is perceived commonly by the most audience in the same manner. The second type of art would be non-representational or non-objective art. It is a type of art that does not portray the exact reference, also known as an abstract. There are also five main sources of the subject of art. It can be from nature, history, Greek and Roman mythology, religion, and from sacred Oriental text. For this output, I chose climate change as the subject of my art piece. Art is known to be a universal outlet for communication, and I chose to communicate the message of climate change and its effect to humanity and the earth. Climate change is an urgent global issue which demands personal, collective, and governmental action. With this artwork, I would like to motivate the audience for change and ignite the realization of how this issue needs to be prioritized. Before I introduce the completed art piece, here is a short video of its creative process. And after what seemed like hours of creation, I humbly present to you The Agonizing Battle Kept Silent, an artwork about climate change. Before I proceed, I would like to acknowledge the fact that this artwork was inspired by a meme that was considered to be humorous and was spread rapidly by internet users all over social media platforms. And with that perspective, I added personal elements and transformed the once humorous image into an artwork that depicts a serious global issue, which is climate change. Now that I have presented my art piece, there are actually three levels that can help the audience in identifying the content or the meaning of the artwork. The agonizing battle kept silent. The content of this art piece can be unpacked and communicated by referring to my imagery of how it looks, the symbolic meaning as to how it must be interpreted, and the reason behind it came to its existence, and the explanation of the artwork. In addition, the content is basically linked with the use of form and is interpreted on how it is associated by the artist. Now let us first talk about the factual meaning, which is the directly apprehended statement of the work. The first that may come to mind is suffering, and that the main character of this portrait is agonizing helplessly. He or she is kept underwater, surrounded by pollution dropped by the people around him. Based from the shallow waters, the audience might think that he can easily escape from his misery, but what they don't see are the greedy hands that are pushing him down and making him drown. Now let's talk about the conventional meaning, which is the special meaning shown in the artwork. If the artwork is shown to a community held by the beliefs of environmental action and change, it can be depicted that the character agonizing in the portrait can either be Earth or humanity, and the people who is deliberately making him suffer is humanity themselves. It shows how the problem we face today is just a mirror of our actions, and the piece can be an outlet of reflection for change and realization that unless we change for the better and consider the effects of environmental degradation, we may either continue to suffer or eventually stop ourselves from drowning. Finally, let us talk about the subjective meaning of the artwork, which refers to the deliberate and instinctive meaning of the work. Subjectively speaking, there can be meaning brought about the colors used in this artwork. Notice how the colors are in a cooler tone. At first glance, it can evoke feelings that seem calming and soothing. But I wanted to express the all seriousness and sadness of the issue that seems to be hopeless if people won't start to do change and see the reality of the issue that we are facing today. The hands gripping on the chains also show how greedy people can be, that despite seeing the apparent suffering they cause upon the earth or to others, they don't find the remorse of letting go and changing at all. And from that moment on, I would like to stop myself and give more room for interpretation to the audience. That ends my presentation for this activity. Thank you very much for listening.